All right, ladies and gentlemen, news video time. Welcome back to the channel. It's time we sit down and get right to the news because we've been away, we've been traveling. There's lots happening, and I want to bring you the YouTube golf know-hows and the things you need to know. And I got some interesting topics. I got some behind the scenes topics, and I got a story that you guys have been asking about that I'm gonna finally talk about. Yeah, so stay tuned for that. Hit that subscribe button if you enjoy this content. I really appreciate it. Texas voice is coming back. Okay, let's jump right into it. Number one in the news, we're gonna go through a couple topics today. First thing, the GG bus tour, the Good bus tour. This is something that they started, I guess like 2-3 weeks ago now, driving from I think New Jersey all the way down to Texas, 9 stops along the way. If you haven't seen the first episode yet, they're doing it episodically. Each stop is one different episode, and in each video, they're competing in a 3v3 that culminates at the end of the Good meetup that we did in Dallas. The one we went and we filmed the behind the scenes of the part 3 contest. That's like the deciding video. So this is like a 9 video episodic series. I talked to Colin and Max about this, about like kind of the logistics and the behind the scenes, and apparently this is like a real story arc. Like this is something that you can watch from the beginning and it'll kind of pull you along, almost like a series of tournaments going on. So it's cool. It's different. It's very different. We've never really seen like a 9 episode. I mean, the Good Cup, I guess, would be kind of similar, but for the most part, we haven't seen like a 9 episode series kind of take us along in YouTube golf. So it's something a little different. Curious to see how it all comes out, if it keeps the interest going as it goes, but talking to those guys behind the scenes, it sounds good. So something to keep your eye on. Speaking of something to keep your eye on, I actually went on their podcast, Colin and Max and Louise's podcast, The Candy Shop. I went over to their like editing house in Frisco, and I sat down with them for like, well, really an hour and a half, but the first half hour didn't record. You'll see that, and then we had to redo. But it's probably going to be like close to a 45-minute, hour-long podcast talking with those guys about everything, about my journey, about even stuff on them. I kind of switched the script and started interviewing them at one point because obviously that's what I do here, and so it just felt like it made sense. But yeah, it was a really good one, so keep your eye out for that. That brings me to my next point though, the Brian Bros tournament. So this is something that went down this past weekend. It looked awesome. They posted stories. It seemed very successful. People definitely enjoyed themselves. It was a scramble tournament. They were there. They were hitting golf shots. It was this big fun event for the fans. It would happen at Aiken Golf and Country Club in Aiken, South Carolina. But this was something that I was supposed to be at. This is something that I posted a bunch on my channel that I was going to. So what happened? What happened, Nate? Well, the truth of the matter is that when the opportunity to go down to Dallas came up, which was right around the same time, it looked like that might be a time where I could go down to Dallas. I could do what I need to do there. I could go over to South Carolina and then come back up. But when we went to actually book it, the getting from Dallas to South Carolina, the renting a car in South Carolina, the staying in South Carolina, and the flying back up was just prohibitively expensive. That's the honest answer. It was just so expensive. Like, we're starting to move, starting to shake, starting to jive on this channel, and that's great. And I am starting to be able to do things, but I can't do a lot of things yet. And that was just a lot of things. That was too much. So I kind of cost benefit analysis, and I figured the content I could get for you guys down at Good would be really unique. It's very different, you know. As much as I would love to have been at the Brian Bros and to play in the tournament, I just figured doing the White House video, doing the behind the scenes video, doing the meetup video, all of that would be really quality content for you guys. So I just kind of had to unfortunately pick one of the two, and that one just made more sense. So yeah, that's why I wasn't at the tournament, but it looked like a huge success. And honestly, the more we can see YouTubers hosting these kind of tournaments, the better it's going to be for the space. So kudos to them. Next point, BDS and Rick Shields, Bob the Sports and Rick Shields. They had a week out in the UK filming with Rick in Scotland. First video has come out on Rick's channel. I mean, you don't know YouTube, you won't maybe not know what this means, but a 1 of 10. They posted a story of him like refreshing the feed like probably an hour or two later and seeing that it premiered at a 1 of 10, which means out of his last 10 videos he's posted on the channel, this one is performing the best in real time compared to the other 10 videos at that point in their upload, which is massive. It's hard to get a 1. I mean, it can be hard to get a 1 of 10 in YouTube, depending. If you're innovating and you're trying to make the best video possible every single time, you should be aiming to get a 1 of 10 every time you upload, but that's not always the reality. What's the point, Nate? The point is that the collab between these two being the biggest video on his channel, like it's not as obvious as you'd think, right? Like, I think the era of just being able to, like, the Grant and Micah situation, when they left Good, there was like a 6-month window when like it felt like all you had to do as a creator was just have like 2 or 3 other big creators on your channel and the video would just instantly pop. Didn't matter the title, didn't matter the thumbnail, boom, 500,000 views. And that's just not the case anymore. Like, you see it with the Grant and the Micah collabs. Like, those videos were really hot for like a month, and then they just started tapering off in views to the point where like they just stopped doing them, because I don't think it made sense to just keep collaborating with the same people over and over and over again. So to see, this one's groundbreaking because it's the first time it's happened, obviously, between these 2 creators, and arguably they're 2 of the 3 biggest creators on the platform. Not arguably, they are, and in terms of fans and pull and whatever. And so these 2 collaborating, but then seeing the success of it, it's really cool. And I think they're doing it the right way. Like, Rick's channel is obviously a bit more traditional. It's a bit more like how-to golf, all that kind of stuff. But still having a way to introduce the fun side of it with Bob Does Sports is good. The video he put out with them was much more raw than his usual videos. It was edited to allow more dialogue and less like fast transitions and drone and all that kind of stuff. So it was interesting. It was cool to see how they kind of put that out. But the thing I'm most excited for, and that's really going to make this collaboration pop, is the fact that they're doing a Guinness challenge. They talked about it in Rick's podcast. On Bob Does Sports, they're doing a Guinness challenge in which they're going to drink a Guinness a hole for 9 holes and try to beat a score. Which, like, I mean, as someone who doesn't drink a lot, like, 9 tall boys I'd be in the hospital. Like, I'd be dead. So watching these guys do it and then still be able to play golf and then having to like do an outro to a video after is going to be amazing. The Bob Does Sports challenge series is in general are the best content they put out, in my opinion. It really is what separates them. Like, when they just go out and play the golf, we're watching it for the comedy, but when they go out and do these challenges, like, it's just a whole other level of comedy, and it really adds to their value prop. And so I think it's just, I mean, every time they get to do this, the cheeseburger challenge with Good was amazing. This one is going to absolutely blow our minds. I cannot wait for that video to come out. Can't believe I've been talking all this time and my throat hasn't given out on me. It's a good sign. All right, title thumbnail of this video, me and Steven from Good. All right, the reason why I want to talk about this is because when we were down in Scottsdale a couple months ago, I filmed with every single member of Good except Steven. I was behind the scenes, I had my camera, I was walking around, I was interviewing, I was doing all these things. I put out like 6 videos. Steven never appeared in any one of them. And there were a lot of questions as to why. There were a lot of people asking me like, Nate, why didn't you film with Steven? Nate, do you not like Steven? Nate, does Steven not like you? Blah, 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 blah. And to be honest, I didn't answer this sooner because I didn't really have an answer. I didn't know. I sort of crossed paths a little bit with him at Scottsdale, but we were doing our own thing. I was going one way, he was going the other, and I never jumped on it. As you guys know, if you watch those videos, I was obviously nervous being there. Like, it was my first time meeting these guys. I had literally started a channel like 5 months prior, purely just talking about them for the most part. So it's like, you know, I didn't know how they were going to perceive me. I didn't know if they were going to like me. Obviously they did, and things worked out great for you, boy, which is awesome. But I didn't know at the time. This was before I was signed with them. This was before anything. So I was definitely skeptical. I was a little nervous about the reception, and so I was being a little tentative going up to people. But by the end of it, I had gone up to everyone except Steven. So at the time, I didn't really think much of it. I was like, yeah, we didn't really cross paths. Like, you know, we both kind of were doing our own thing, and it's whatever. I didn't have any type of assumptions. But when I met him in Texas, and I went up to him, and I put the camera in his face, and he talked back to me, holy crap, was I blown away. Like, honestly. Maybe it's just like the fact that I didn't talk to him in Scottsdale, or maybe it's like, I don't know, he's kind of like, I don't know what it is, but I just had this like slight hesitancy that I was gonna be able to have it, and he just blew me away, man. Like, he honestly was like the most surprising nice guy ever. Like, he's got the chains, he's got the earrings, he's got the, I don't know, man, I don't want to judge, but like, I kind of maybe thought he was gonna have a bit of like a screw you mentality to me, at least. No, he couldn't have been warmer, he couldn't have been nicer, he couldn't have been cooler, he couldn't have been better looking in person. Like, let me just put that out there. Like, that was surprising how good looking this guy was in real life. Not surprising, but like, he was really good looking. You know, sometimes you see someone that you haven't seen in real life and you're like, oh, he was better looking. So good for him. Nicest guy ever. Our relationship is unreal. I like, honestly, like, I genuinely could see myself like messaging him and being more comfortable to message him and like ask to do something collaboratively than like almost anyone else in the group. Like, maybe Bubby, but like, I don't know, there's levels to it and like whatever, but like he was just so welcoming and so inviting, and just it blew my mind. They're all amazing. Like every single person I interact with at Good was welcoming and nice to some level, but there were definitely a couple that like felt like they went above and beyond for like someone they really didn't need to go above and beyond for. And he was just so cool. He was so genuine, and I was blown away. So kudos to Steven, man. What a guy. That's the news for today. I got more. I got lots of ideas now that I'm back. I'm sitting in this news desk, so be prepared for some more news videos over the next week or two. I'll see you then.